Hello, everybody. It's
Hey,
week
Jason.
29 of Into the Fire, episode number 29 of Into the Fire, coming to you live. It is July the 12th, 2024, coming to you live from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and
Evergreen, Colorado.
Awesome. This is going to be exciting. I really loved what we did a couple of weeks ago, and I was really following closely the comments and just all the questions and stuff. And Ronnie and I got together and we talked about it. And we thought, let's do kind of a second episode of that, a part 2, and that's what we're doing tonight. And this time, I think what we're going to do is we're going to kind of try to, get as many of these questions in as possible, and not spend a terrible amount of time on any one of them, but we're going to try to just knock out as many as possible. Anything happening with you? I know you're up in Colorado. You're training for the Olympics or something along those lines. And
yeah, I'll be in Paris here at the end of the month, competing for Team USA. Yeah. Now, there's a bike ride out here in Colorado called the Triple Bypass. It's starts here in Evergreen where I'm at and goes west to Avon, goes over 3 mountain passes. It's 118 miles long, 10,800 feet of elevation gain. And I turned 50 back in March, and last year I decided that I was going to do that race, or it's not really a race, it's just a ride. I was going to do that ride this year since I turned 50, and sure enough, here I am.
Good for you, man. You know what I did? I got a tetanus shot like last week, and today I got the first half of my shingles vaccine. So I'm doing what we do when you get to be my age, and having a good time doing it. By the way, for those of you that are out here, Jeff Gatwood, and I've mentioned him before, he's one of the other detectives in the unit. He and I went down and got our first dose of our shingles vaccine today. And I had heard from my doctor. I was in his office, and he goes, "It's horrible. It feels like a blowtorch getting stuck in your arm." And I'm like, "What in the world are you telling me that for?" You know what I mean? At least lie to me a little bit. And even the medical assistants, I'm looking at her, and she's like, "No, he's serious. It really hurts bad." And so I have been absolutely dreading this all week. And Gatwood was basically kind enough to go down there. So he goes, "Well, I'll do it with you." And so we went down there and we both got it today, and it was nothing. Hopefully I don't have chills and fever tonight, and I'm in a blanket and miserable, but those are some of the side effects. But nevertheless, I'm glad I did it. I'm working on all of these things I have to do. It's great to see you, Ronnie. I haven't seen you all freaking week, and this is great. This is great.
Is anything going on back at the office? I haven't really kept up on anything. So
no, but I do want to give a shout out to a couple of people. Well, one person in particular, Amanda, throw that picture up. Every now and then I get some interesting things that are sent to me, and I want to put a shout out to John Schick, and I think he's from Oregon. He is from Oregon, and he is retired from the California Department of Corrections. And that picture of that police car that you see there sitting in front of you with that door open, every now and then I get some really interesting things. And John found that car in his den, and he was like, I'd forgotten about this. And he noticed that I have a bunch of police cars up there in my desk area. And he was kind enough to send that my way. And I wanted to give him a shout out. I don't even know if he even listens to this show, but I thought that was pretty cool. And I think that a lot of people, if they didn't know it, we could mention real quick that, and we're going to get to your questions in about 30 seconds, but we do get a lot of cool stuff that gets sent our way, and from coffee and by the way, that coffee pot that everybody's always asking about, do you guys ever clean that coffee pot? That thing is long gone. If that thing has ended up in an episode like this current, that is them splicing in a picture of that stupid coffee pot. We don't have it anymore. We've got a good looking one. It's perfect. But people are really kind, and they'll send us coffee and stuff like that. So,
well, there was a couple other things in your picture there that kind of stood out to me. If Amanda can put that back up. One was the Work Aside book. We had her on.
Stephanie Keesaw.
Yep, we had her on. And then the other thing that's jumping out to me is the Hy-Vee race car. Our friend Barbara Thompson there, who works for Hy-Vee, they were big fans of the show and sent us some stuff. And then
and I'll point one other thing out. How about the No Body book? No Body Homicide book, which is to the left of the screen, and that is Tad DiBiase, who is a friend of this show, and he was also a guest on the show. There you go. It's a great pick of it. So, we really do read this stuff. And when we have people on, and I've got a couple of other books of future guests down the line, but man, we appreciate it. And those actually, I went out and I bought those, but no, I think actually Stephanie sent me that one. That's an autographed version.
Okay.
It's really that stuff really means the world to us. So, and we're not soliciting, believe me. But also every now and then, we'll get some special things that get sent to us, and that means the world to us. Let's get to it, man. I'm really stoked, and I know that I'd said a couple of weeks ago that maybe I might have even put it in a post. We may give something away. It may not be tonight. I've got coffee cups. I've got a couple of coffee cups that I think I'm going to figure out the way to do it to where it's fair. I'm trying to that number thing drove me crazy the last time.
Yeah.
So I just don't know how to do it. We might go with the number thing again, but Ronnie and I are going to sit down. But what we'll do is, I think you're going to be here all next week, I think. So maybe we can do, I think that maybe one coffee cup, maybe two. It just depends upon how generous I am, and maybe 2 coffee cups, and maybe a couple of Tulsa Police Department patches for a couple of other lucky winners. And at least at a minimum, I think what we can do is we can give out a couple of different squad photos that are completely signed by everybody in the squad. That are, they're worth a lot of, well, no, they're really not worth anything, but they're very, very limited. So we would love to send those out. And it's kind of crazy as to how creative people can get by putting those in like frames and stuff. It's pretty amazing. So,
hey, one thing I want to say real quickly before you get to the questions was, you were talking about Gatwood earlier, and I just wanted to say that he's going back to patrol here in roughly a month. He's decided to finish off his career out in patrol. And I know you said he's listened to this show, and I've heard him actually say a few things that he listens. So Jeff, if you're listening, or if you're going to listen later on, it was great working with you. And I know we still got another month, but man, it really was. Him and I worked together several times. We went down to Texas on a case, and ended up spending the night in a hotel to do some more stuff the next morning. So Jeff was he's an interesting character, and I really enjoyed working with him. So
yeah, I'm one of the few people that can handle him. I'm one of the designated Jeff handlers. But at least I'm self-proclaimed Jeff handler. But hey, to the people that are in here, Joan, Phyllis, Amanda, thank you for all your efforts each and every week. I know that there's one of our other regulars that's in here that there's just so many of you guys that we just love seeing your names come in here each and every week. And there was another one that I wanted to mention. Kathleen, my gosh, you're here tonight. We love it. Andy and Teresa. Regulars, it means the world to us. If you guys weren't in here, and it just wouldn't be worth doing, honestly. So this has been fun. And I wanted to mention one last guy that just things like, there's a guy by the name of Sean McDonough, and I'm probably mispronouncing his last name, but here's a guy that's a Washington, D.C. homicide detective that listens to this show and watches us. And he says he's even learned a ton. So you have no idea, Ronnie, the amount of people that literally are cops from coast to coast that actually watch this, which is fascinating to me.
That's cool.
So it is cool. So one of the questions, Ronnie, this is the question to you, is that basically, would you let Justin cut your hair again?
Sure. It was back then. It just seems like that there was something going on for an extended period of time, and I could never get to the barber. And I knew Justin had cut hair. I think maybe when he was in the Army, he did it a little bit for people. And I remember when I asked him, and then Brandon Swanson was actually filming. And next thing I know, we went down to the basement to the locker room, and Brandon came in there with the camera, which, we didn't plan that at all. Brandon saw that opportunity and followed us in there. And it has turned into 10 years of people asking me about getting haircuts.
Carrie Delusky asks, are we ever scared? Are you scared? You ever scared, Ronnie?
Well, not now. I sit in the office and read 40-year-old reports now. Back in the day when I was out on cases, I don't know that. I guess maybe to a certain extent, I think you need a little bit of fear and to keep you on your toes and keep you sharp. I don't ever remember a situation where I was just shaking in my boots and freaking out that, oh my gosh, what's going to happen here? But yeah, there's always that element of the unknown, and we're dealing with killers,
Yeah.
so they're going to be violent, and most of them had guns. So yeah, you have to take that into consideration.
When the hair on the ladies, you ever heard of that sixth sense, and the hair on the back of your neck stands up? You should listen to it. Fear is your friend in this business, and both Ronnie and I, we might have nerves of steel. You see us up here, and we're like, cool, calm, and collected. You see us in interview rooms with killers, and you do not see us nervous whatsoever. But I will tell you that both Ronnie and I have had our fair share of sheer terror moments in our career. Life and death situations, as a matter of fact. So that's for another episode in and of itself. One of the questions Kathleen had asked, whatever happened to Justin Ritter? Justin Ritter, he is the lieutenant over the robbery unit. And that's what Kathleen had asked. That's where he's at. He's in robbery, which is basically 15 feet, or it's probably 20 feet away from where I sit. And so I see him periodically. I've seen him 15 times this week. And that's what he's doing. So he's the boss over robbery.
And he left. He promoted out of homicide before the rank structure changed to Tulsa. He promoted to a corporal, and in Tulsa you have to go back out to patrol. So he promoted to a corporal, went to patrol, and then I think he became a sergeant because they changed that. And then he went and took another test and became a lieutenant. And yeah, it was his choice to leave homicide as a promotion. So yes, that's my little addition to that.
I was inviting my lovely wife, Tina, to just poke her head in here, and I got a middle finger. So she's not prepared for the screen apparently right now. So maybe another time. She's not mad at me, Ronnie. It's just that, she doesn't, apparently she doesn't look her best, but looks pretty normal to me. So what else? Let's see. I can't remember what you just said, Ronnie. I don't even remember.
I was just adding on about Justin promoting, and that's the reason he left homicide. And he had back to patrol.
Okay, so somebody had asked me, do I have a negotiation that's really memorable? And it's a case that, of course, it's a case that has led me from one end of this country to the other, and it's kind of a crossover between me and Ronnie because we both worked the homicide together, and it's actually Ronnie's case, and it was a negotiation with a father that had taken his 5-year-old hostage, and it was a domestic drama situation, and he ended up killing his kid in the process in the middle of this, or actually at the very beginning onset. We didn't know it at the time. And we negotiated with him for approximately 16 hours. And so that's the most memorable. And it's one of those that actually I'm kind of proud of the fact that we were able to get him out alive. And in some ways, I feel like that it was a victory to be able to get him out. But it was a horrific situation that affected both me and Ronnie. I have no doubt that you were affected by it. I know I was. So,
yeah, and I talked about that a little, I think, a couple of weeks ago when that was one of the cases that stuck with me. But I know we're trying to rush these questions, but will you? Yeah. I get why you say what you just said, but I think a lot of other people in general may not understand why you consider that a victory. If you will, kind of give a little.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, as a negotiator, do what?
I was just saying, yeah. Why was that a victory in the negotiation world?
Well, as a negotiator, I mean, we're given the cards that we're dealt. You're trying to get somebody out of there. You want them out. You want to save lives. That's our number one priority, is to save lives of hostages is the number one thing. And then from there, you kind of keep going down, and you want to save the lives of everybody. That's the goal. And at that time, we had no way to believe that the child wasn't killed. So we continued on and continued to do what we do. And we didn't find out that the child was killed until after the incident had concluded and he had walked out. So that's kind of, I mean, I get it. There's a lot of cops that'd be like, yeah, I wish he wouldn't have done that, but it is what it is. And that's what we do. And it's kind of a negotiator mindset. So there's one. Which cases bother you most to this day? And it could be solved or unsolved.
I feel like we talked about this a couple weeks ago too. I would add the Creech thing was the one that stuck with me. And as I said, people were coming to me because my daughter was roughly Braden's age at the time. And I'm like, man, I'm good. I got this case. It's fine. People were offering to take the case from me. I mentioned Craig Johnson, the sergeant with the police department,
that's right,
who got shot and killed, along with Officer Zarkashian, who survived, fortunately. And then the third one that I would add is Ben Montgomery. The case, it's an unsolved case of mine from golly, going on 5 years now. And it was the victim in that was the son of a highway patrolman in Oklahoma, and the apartment complex where this murder happened is really close to the neighborhood I live in. So I drive by that by that apartment complex pretty much daily. So it's every time I go by there, I'm like, oh, we need to, is there something else we can figure out with that case? So that's my short. Those are the three that kind of stand out to me.
What is the case? Well, and for me, I mean, I've got a number of them probably in and out that I still think about. One of the questions that from Candace Lombard, what is the type of case that you dread or fear the most? Take police officers getting killed off of the.
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
Because that's an obvious one.
And I don't know that this may sound weird, but if it's, you don't want, and I don't know a politically correct way to say this, you don't want a guy dead in the middle of the street with no witnesses, no evidence, no cameras. It's just guy dead in the middle of the street. And the reason I would say that you dread that is because it's going to be tough to give that person's family some answers and some closure, but it's also at times it can be an interesting case because it's going to give you the opportunity to show your skills, and that you can take a case of a guy dead in the middle of the street with nothing and then figure it out. So that's kind of a two-part answer, I guess, on my end.
I'll tell you, for me, well, you know me, Ronnie. What's the case that I complain the most about?
Gangsters.
Yes. I freaking hate gang cases. I can't stand them. I don't like the characters of the stories. It's usually over the most ridiculous and stupid things in the world.
Such as
stepping on their J's or something stupid at a club. Remember that? Double murder.
How about the price of a haircut?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I got one. A guy got executed because the killer was charging $10 for a haircut, and he asked the guy that was charging $7 to raise his prices. And he said, no, I'm good. And so that got him executed. That's the stupid that I'm talking about. And that's what we hate dealing with. One of the questions, Ronnie, is, and the other one, what is it? It's that one? I'll think about it because there's some other kind of a case that I can't stand either. But Ronnie, one of the questions is that why did you take the cold case job? This is coming to you from Teresa Wright.
So the short answer is the work environment at the lab was not for me. It was time for a change. And I'll leave it at that.
Brittany asked this is a little bit of a throwback is what she put in her comment. So, and we know Brittany was on the show too. That's what I love. I mean, some of these people that have been on the show, they actually come back to watch, and I love it. So Brittany says in here, let's throw back a bit. If your power animal is a bald eagle, did we ever decide what Ronnie is? So she's saying that I was the bald eagle. What is your power animal?
Well, I don't know. It seems like at one point there was some fan who made drawings and sent them into a bunch of people.
Yes, that's
I don't remember what mine was. So
oh my gosh, I gotta find that.
You sent that in. I still have it. It's in this trunk that I have a bunch of police memorabilia from my career, and I saved all that stuff, but I don't remember what mine was, and I'm not going to give myself an animal. So I guess if you want to, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll have to think on that one. I'll tell you what, you're kind of quiet, but you strike. I mean, it's not like you're a snake, because you're not a snake. Snake's not good. It wouldn't be a snake. I don't know, but you're super tough. I mean, you're probably like a mongoose. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what in the heck you'd be, but that's a good question. And Shelly Jabbers didn't realize that you had actually retired, and he really kind of did. But then again, I really wish you hadn't officially retired.
Yeah. But, looking back on it, I guess to talk about that a little bit, it was time for a time to change here. 2+ years ago, when I left the police department, I stayed doing computer stuff there at the lab. And then obviously I came back to the cold case thing, but yeah, it was just, it was time for a change. And I should have maybe been a little more patient, because I know at the time that I left, there was there was at least 3, and I think 4 other people who were whatever was going on. I think maybe just burnout had all hit us. And so there was several other people looking at other things. And I'm the one who took off. Those other 3 or 4 stuck around and are happy as all can be now. So yeah, I should have maybe just been a little more patient, but it's all good.
Lisa Karen, I think that Karen, but she'd had 2 questions. One of the ones that we've already kind of answered it, or you did, is that what prompted you to retire? You already covered that, but also because she said you seemed really young, which is very nice to say. How come I don't get that? I mean, even today when me and Gatwood were getting that shot, the girl that was giving him a shot, she was like, "Oh my gosh, you look so young," and it was nothing to me, and I was like, "Okay, whatever." All right. So, from your experience, doesn't it seem like weed, meaning marijuana, creates more robberies and lead to homicides? It seems that most of the crimes that turn to murder start going to buy weed or going to sell weed. That's very intuitive of her, actually. And basically, maybe it is the gateway drug to homicide. Interested in to hear your thoughts. What do you think about marijuana?
As far as in general, over the years, my opinion of drugs in general has changed. That I'm a little more probably liberal as far as my view of those. I'm not saying everything should be legal and everyone should be doing it and all that stuff, but and you're going to be able to provide a lot more insight on this than I can, just because it's what you do. But I know I can't give you any numbers, I guess is what I'm trying to say, but I know were numerous murders that we dealt with that were, as she said, marijuana robberies. Not because someone's high and they went crazy and started killing people. I don't remember any of those, and maybe you do. But yes, there were tons of dope rips that turned into shootings that led to murders. So, but whether it's legal or not, I don't think you're going to change that. People like to smoke weed, and anybody can grow it if you put any effort into it. So I don't think that's ever going to go away. That if someone sees an easy opportunity to get some weed and they're a criminal, a bad guy, then they're going to take that opportunity. And, hopefully for all involved, it's a simple robbery and the drugs get taken. But yeah, I don't think that the marijuana led murders are going to stop anytime soon.
Well, let me just tell you this. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got a news flash for you. There are more murders that involve marijuana when you're going to talk about drugs, more murders that involve marijuana when it's drug related, okay, than any of the other drugs combined. Marijuana is a very, very deadly drug, and Ronnie hit it. People want it, and it's readily available, and robberies do occur. And listen, I got to tell you, when I started being a cop, Ronnie, I didn't care about weed, and my dad used to always tell me, hey, if it doesn't give you a hernia carrying it to the property room, who cares?
Yeah.
And I really didn't have people that used to, they usually wouldn't give you any issues. You didn't get called to their house because everybody's chill and they're eating Taco Bell or whatever the heck they're doing. And they're just chilled out. But the weed of today, ladies and gentlemen, is not the weed of yesterday. And there is a lot it's too much. In Oklahoma, and I'm just saying in Oklahoma, for those that need it, great. In Oklahoma, it's overrun with it. Just to give you a comparison statistically, there's like over 6,000 licenses for marijuana grows here in the state of Oklahoma compared to California that has 14. Okay. So that's a huge difference. I think it's gone to a whole nother level, and I don't think that they really thought it through. And I really don't want a bunch of zombies running around this country either. So I think that in moderation, great. I think if it's for the right thing, I'm sick, to tell you the truth. This is a personal opinion right here. I'm sick of smelling it everywhere I go. Ronnie, me and you were in Colorado and on an investigation, and we could smell it as we're driving 75 miles an hour on the interstate. It was ridiculous. So I don't know. When I retire, maybe I'll have a different point of view on that. But as it stands right now, I'm just not, I don't know. I don't really care. I just get sick of smelling it at the courthouse, on the streets, from my neighbor across the street that's smoking a bowl every night, that kind of jazz. So I don't know. We love you too, Jen Kai Raider. Thank you. Linda Ellerton, how much target practice did you both get in? Well, not as much as we'd like.
Yeah, not as much as we'd like. So when you work on the Tulsa Police Department, you go through a bunch of shooting in the academy. Then every year you have to qualify. Is all you have to do. The opportunity that we have as a Tulsa police officer, and I didn't do it near enough. I know you haven't, and countless others haven't. We're given 100 rounds every month free from the department. You go to the range, you're like, hey, I need my 100 rounds. You can go out and shoot it. And really, if you're doing that, probably if you wanted another box or so, I'm sure at times they'd be like, yeah, here's another box. But I didn't take advantage of it like I should have. But
neither one of us did. Neither one of us did at all. So, hey, Jackie Muse is in the house, and I love her.
Yes.
She's one of my faves. Thanks for coming back every week, Jackie. You're a super fan, and I know your fans. You got a lot of fans out there, and so you just really moved me, and I'm still pulling for you. So you better stay on the right track, or I'm going to drive to South Dakota or wherever you're at, and I'm going to get you back on track. She's going to do great. How do you not take your work home with you? Hello. How do you not take your work home with you?
How do I? Because I think if you do that, you jeopardize both your work and your personal life. If you're taking it home, there's times you can't help it. You're going to think about some stuff, and you spend a ton of time on cases, but I think you have to have a healthy non-work life. So a work-life balance type thing, you have to do that because I don't know. I just think you're going to hurt your family if that's all you're doing is worrying about the case, and then at the same time you're going to be tired and cranky, and your family's going to get tired and cranky, and it's going to hurt your investigation.
Yeah, I think I'm probably more obsessed with it than anybody in the office, without a doubt, right, Ronnie?
Yes.
I think that in our office there is, without question, I take it home. All right, I watch shows to try to learn. I watch Dateline and 48 Hours, and I watch docu-series, and I think about different things. I have so much to learn. We are all different in that office. Some of us have really, really strong areas, and I know it is. It's a great shirt, isn't it, Justine? I love it. But literally, I'm probably obsessed. Do I do other things? Well, yeah. Last night I was listening to jail calls at like 10:30 at night. So I maybe. But I travel and I teach, and that's what's my therapy. That's mine. Let's see. That's a great question, though. I love all of these questions. It's so much fun. Wouldn't it be fun to just do a ride along with Ronnie and I, and just go? And to tell you the truth, one of the questions was, could I ever do a ride along? It was an RN paramedic, and the thing of it is, and I tell people this, and Ronnie and I would tell this to people all the time. Riding along with us is boring.
Yeah,
really. It's like, right, what are you going to do? Watch us type all day long? That we do a lot of typing, and the really cool stuff that you see is days, if not weeks, of following us around. It's not just standing in a murder scene every day. It's a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, if you're going to do a ride along, do it with patrol, because they're at the beck and call of the dispatcher and the 911 calls, and we, as the homicide guys, and really all detectives, are reactive. And so, for every, whatever the saying is, for every 5 minutes of excitement with us is, weeks of typing and waiting on something to happen.
Okay, here's a question from Phyllis. It's to me that basically I'd worked with Detective Chase Calhoun on a case of a 16-year-old male named Darren, and that was shot and left in the field. As of 2021, every lead has been exhausted. Has the case ever been solved? Well, interestingly enough, that was Chase's very, very first case. And I was his backer on that case. And, there was times when we've kind of got ideas with it, but, at the end of the day, you've got to really prove it. And all of these cases, honestly, are cases that we rely heavily upon people talking to us. And that's a huge deal. And that's where we are incredibly successful throughout this country, or when compared to a lot of other places, is that, number one, we've got good people that live here that ultimately don't want knuckleheads running around either. but we're pretty good at communicating with people and trying to get people to do the right thing. Agreed?
Yeah, without a doubt. And in that case specifically, I've talked to Chase about that since I'm in cold case. There are some thoughts, but yeah, the big thing is proving those things, and that is much more difficult than just knowing who did something.
Yeah, I think we got this partially. Charlotte Worthington asked, what kind of qualities do we look for as far as somebody bringing to the unit? I know we've talked about it. We don't want loners. We don't want social misfits. For the most part, we don't have that. We really want people that are going to be able to be good team players. That's it. I mean, you want a baseball team full of guys. I hate to use the analogy for baseball. It could be any sport. I mean, it doesn't matter, baseball, whatever. You want a team that's basically going to be cohesive, and we're all going to be able to work together and get along. And that's what we want. And we also want them to be trainable, right? We don't want some idiot in there. And, sometimes you don't get you don't know what you're getting.
And just to keep it real, there's times that people, as well as the 12 plus years that I've been associated with TPD homicide, there's butting of the heads at times with people, and people having disagreements, but you have to be able to put that behind you and just focus on the case. So yeah, don't think it's all rainbows and unicorns around there. It's not, but there's a good group that works well together, and some people work better with others than they do with others. Yeah,
that's the one thing that I really wish I could change in there. I would like to work with certain people. It's just a thing, for me. We're not going to discuss it here any further than that, but we'll leave it at that.
Go on to the next question.
Let's see. I've pretty much covered that. Let's see. I'm trying to get as many of these in as possible, believe me.
You're good. We got 20 plus minutes.
Oh, do we remember the incident with the goat? This is coming to us from Kathy Thomas. A lot of people don't, go ahead.
I'll start it. I'll start how it started. You finish it. And so I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think this ever got showed on First 48, did it? Or maybe they put it on one of their Facebook short things. But
no. It's the beginning of one of your episodes.
Oh, is it? Okay. So early on, when the show first got here, me, Jason, and Brandon Swanson, the camera guy, we're together. I don't remember what we were doing. We stopped at a Quick Trip. You guys went in to go to the bathroom or get some coffee or whatever it was. I'm out in the car listening to the radio, and I hear a call of Baker, whoever, and car to back, assist a lady who's stuck on a van. She's trapped by a goat, and this goat wouldn't let her off of the back to her house. It's out in the street, like following her around when she's on top of this van or car, whatever it was. So you guys come out of the Quick Trip, and I'm like, hey, whatever we're doing, we got to put that on hold. We got to go, because we were less than a mile from it. I'm like, we got to go up here, and there's a lady who's trapped by a goat. And I don't think you guys believed me at first, but I was like, yeah, I'm serious. We got to go to whatever it was. Was it on Rosedale or what? I don't remember what street it was on. But anyway,
it was in Northwest Tulsa.
Here, we got to go there. So you're like, okay, here we go. So you can take it from there.
Well, it's in a part of the city, just to kind of put this into perspective. It's one of those parts we're the 47th largest city in this country. We are a little bit smaller than Minneapolis and a little bit bigger than Cleveland. And believe it or not, there are sections of Tulsa that literally have horses.
Yeah, in
somebody's backyard. Yes, or chickens, or I don't know what the zoning thing. If I had chickens in my yard, I guarantee you people are going to be calling. But there are places in town that have that, and in this particular area, there's goats and whatever else, what other crazy animals are up there. This goat was not any ordinary goat. This was a billy goat that had huge teeth, and he was very, very aggressive. I'm going to say aggressive, and he did not like people. Yes. And so this thing, basically, we jumped out, man. We weren't going to be scared of this thing. And this thing literally jumped up and stuck its front legs up on Ronnie's shoulders, about ready to rape him or something. I don't know what the heck was going to go on there. Yeah. And I ended up grabbing on to the horns of this thing. And you know what's crazy? And I'll just kind of share this with people. you could have some situation where you're in a fight for your life with some guy and people they don't have any problems with that. You know, you do what you do. I literally stuck my foot on this goat's rear end to push it into the gate. I didn't kick it. I didn't maliciously. I'm just trying to push him along, okay, with my foot. I don't want to grab his rear end. I want to push him in there. You wouldn't believe the number of people that are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe what he did to that goat." And it was crazy.
Also, if I remember correctly, you had to take off your belt and use it kind of as a lasso, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We sure did.
So one of us, I don't remember if you kept that or I did, and we're leading it to that yard, and then you're pushing it with your foot and stuff. But yeah, I like to refer that it wasn't a goat, it was the devil. It was trying to.
It was the devil. It was the devil, and really, you're not going to find two other homicide detectives in that unit that would have did what we did that day, and that's guaranteed. I can promise you on that. Maybe Reggie. Reggie might have. He would have stayed in the car and cheered us on. But we talked about the pros and cons of being on the first 48. Yeah.
Yeah,
no, it was
like that.
It was nothing like that. It was like the devil with horns. Let's see. What else do we got here? I'm kind of keeping one eye open over here on the comments just to see if anything pops up over here. There's so many things that
I think I saw something that you sent me some of those things, and I didn't have a chance to look at them all because I just got back here to get on my phone. But Nailani Ching, didn't she ask something about a subpoena?
She did. Yeah, let me pull that up real quick because she did. Does Ronnie remember? And we know her. She's an attorney in another jurisdiction. When you were in narcotics, she thinks that you were in narcotics and you had a subpoena for court. She was kind of new. That you came over and asked her if she still.
If I still need it.
If you needed to be there.
Yeah.
And that you told him to ask his lawyer because you probably looked like a freaking maggot.
Yeah.
And so did I. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah. So
for the record, he was great. He was great about it.
When I was in SID, at least part of the time, I had hair down past my shoulders, and yeah, I looked like I should have been out on the streets buying and selling drugs, and that's what I did. And yeah, I had went to court. I mean, not like I'm going to cut my hair and shave to go to court because I was still working. So yeah, I don't remember all the details of that, but Nailani, yes, in general, I remember that situation, and I'm glad that you you stuck with me, and we made it through it.
Well, and I got to tell you, Ronnie's a good sport because there's been a lot of things that I've done that I've kind of roped him in on over the years. And one of them is basically, Ronnie and I did a lot of extra things in our unit. And I think that we passed along, we just kind of would almost force others to do things. And we're talking like passing out turkeys on Christmas time. Gift cards. There is one of those that I actually regret that I really wish I hadn't given that guy that turkey. That was, he did not deserve it, but there was only one of those.
And I don't think there's anything wrong talking about that. So I'll say I think we talked about it before. There's a group, the TPD Foundation in Tulsa, raises money. They help buy things for the police department, and they've brought shields for the SWAT team. Jason and I gave a presentation. We're trying to get some equipment for our lab to do some DNA testing. And part of the thing they do every year around Christmas time is they would give the police department these like grocery bags that they would go to Reese's or wherever and fill up grocery bags for people, for the less fortunate in Tulsa. They would ask officers to go hand them out. And every year I don't remember how many years in a row we did that. And one year we had whatever it was, 5 or 6 just frozen turkeys, and we're taking them to different places, and we would just pull up to wherever we'd see somebody and we're like, hey, let's give it to them. And we would give them the groceries. It seems like we had a murder in this one apartment complex, and whoever decided, let's go there. And then what happens at that point, Jason?
Well, I'm not going to mention the name of the place, but it's not one of our crown jewels of our city. I can promise you that. It's a place that when you go there, you're just like, you don't have people jumping over themselves to be nice. And we ended up just almost like forcing this guy to take this turkey. No, it was a ham. It was like a freaking $60 ham. And the moment I gave it to the guy and he shut the door, I was like, that was the biggest mistake I've ever made. That guy had no business getting. He was horrible to us. And I
Yeah, there was not that we were looking for people to be like, oh my gosh, gave us a hug and all that stuff, and thank you, great, but
that was really that was a hug a thug moment, is what that was, because he was a thug.
Be a decent human, and just, even if you don't mean it, say thank you, and maybe, I don't know, and we got that. And yeah, as soon as we left, Jason was not happy that we gave that away there.
No. By the way, just as a public service announcement, the police officers, when we're in the public, one of the things that most of us generally do hate, there's two things. We hate comments about donuts. Okay. That's number one. I'll tell you something about the donut thing, is where that comes from is it goes way back to like the 50s, the 40s, the 50s, because this is previous to cell phones, previous to cops having radios on their belts. That was because the cops would go to the donut shops because it was really the only place that was open in the early morning hours, and people would know where to go to find a police officer. So they would hang out at the donut shop. It's an old thing that goes back to way back when. We hate that. And the other thing that do you know the other one we hate when we're in the when people come up to you at the convenience store? If you know, it's you better be nice or that cop's going to throw you in jail. We cannot stand that. So stop doing it. We hate it.
And to expand on that, what you're referring to is there are adults say that to little kids.
That's what I meant. Yeah. That's what I meant. The donut one, no.
That kid just has a great view of cops from an early age. So don't do that. If you want to cops with donuts, I can live with that. But yeah, don't tell little kids that if you don't listen to me, the cops are going to arrest you. Yeah, don't do that.
But by the way, I like donuts. However, I can't really have them anymore. It's not really good for me. Joanne Woodward asked, Jason, maybe you said this and I don't remember, but weren't you living in Oklahoma City in 1995 when the Murrah and did the Murrah bombing influence you to join the police department? Also, your dad was law enforcement. He was a law enforcement officer. So you were around it, but must have been a moment when you thought that's it. Now's the time. Well, the answer to your question is yes, I did live in Oklahoma City at the time. Yes, I did hear the blast, as did everybody else that was awake at the time. And yes, it was something that the first thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to go and run up into the rebel and go help and help where we could. And, of course we couldn't do that. I was in surgery at the time. We were waiting for people to come in. Right after that, there was actually a few events that really motivated me to be a cop, or I was wanting to be a cop from the Manson day, the Manson murders, but really Waco, which was, I think, April 19th, 1993 or April 19th, 93 or 94. And then the Murrah bombing, which is April 19th of 1995. And when those two events happened, in addition to the O.J. Simpson case, things like that, I was like, what am I doing here? I need to be a cop and I want to be a homicide detective. This is what my dream was all along. Now, the other part of that question was my dad being a cop? Yeah, I was exposed to it as a little kid. Was the moment that really made me light the fire under me? It was really the Oklahoma City bombing to get me back on track and really work hard to get there, to answer that question. Was there why in the heck did you want to be a cop, Ronnie? You don't come from it. I sometimes wonder, working with you for as many years as we did.
Yeah.
I think I like people more than you. Don't you?
Yeah, you do. No, what I really wanted to do was go to the CIA and be like a spy type thing, and just different things happened along the way, and it just didn't happen. And so there was a guy that I went to high school with who was working at the sheriff's office up there where I'm from, and he called me one day and said, "Hey, we got some openings over here. Why don't you come work over here?" And so I went there, and here we are at this point, 6 years later, if not longer.
I know we've kind of answered this. What case has impacted us the most? I know we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but I'm talking about impact. This is coming from Gabby Arden, and I like the question. Which case has impacted you the most? Which case will you always remember?
I guess I would go with those three that I've talked about. But as far as impacting me,
I can tell you one that when it comes to you, where I saw you probably show more emotion than the norm.
Okay.
And it's that older lady that was murdered in South Tulsa. You know which one I'm talking about? The guy that ended up killing himself when we were on the hunt for him. You remember that case?
Yeah. Janet Donovan.
Yep, that's it. That's it.
Um,
Is that true, or do you think?
The thing that was, I guess, sticks with me about that case is the lady that got killed. She wasn't connected to the killer other than through her friend. Her friend had dated the guy, if I'm remembering correctly. Her friend dated the guy, and then whatever, that wasn't working out, and so he ends up killing the lady's friend, if I remember right.
Yeah, killed her to make her life miserable. Yeah, it was stupid. It was really weird. He would have been an interesting interview. I'm going to give a shout out to my cousin Darren Burrows that's in the house. He's from he's living in Western Washington, right along the beach somewhere. But he's a faithful listener as well. So him and my other cousin Jody. So hey to the both of you. So she doesn't listen live. He does. But
how about you?
Go ahead.
Which ones have stuck with you? I'm guessing Courtney.
Yeah. I mean, that stuck with me because of, a lot of different reasons. But that really bothered me. There's a couple of my cold cases that I continue to play with. But
the girls in the dumpsters. You had a couple of those. Well, one you took over from Diana, but
yeah, the one in the one that was the sexual monster, the sexual deviant monster that through that Amy Robertson case. I have this feeling that he's killed somebody else. I mean, it's just my thoughts. I think that he may be responsible for more than that. That's when I saw that case, I was like, this isn't this guy's first rodeo. There's something else going on here. So I don't know. That's one too. The domestic one of John's, of course, that one sickens me. Yeah, and I'm dealing with a domestic this year that's absolutely disgusting. But go ahead.
I said I don't think I really had much to do with that one. I mean, I know what you're talking about, and I've seen the stuff. So yeah, that one was terrible. But I wasn't. I don't think I really helped on that one.
I'll tell people. There's 3 detectives. This is a little bit of it's kind of a fun fact, and if I haven't mentioned it before, I don't remember. But I like talking about it because, quite frankly, when I joined the unit, I mean, I really didn't know if I was going to even. I figured I was going to get kicked out of there. I mean, there are times when I don't know. There are times when I can say things that I haven't really thought about before it's come out of my mouth, and I've had a run-in or two along the years with primarily probably supervisors, really, but there's been 3 detectives that have worked that have been the lead detective in over 100 homicides in the history of Tulsa since the beginning of cityhood. And we're talking back in the early 1900s. And just to let people know, Mike Zanoni actually has been the lead detective on the most homicides in the history of Tulsa. The number of that's 129. And Mark Kennedy is number 2 on the all-time list. And he is he's probably around 120, low 20s. And then there's probably 119 or 120, maybe 121. And then I'm at a 111. So the 3 of us have been over 100, it's kind of a fun fact. I'm proud of that. And one day I will be number 1 on that list. I don't care how long Mark thinks he can stick around. I will beat him one day.
Okay.
If I can stand it. Let's see. What else? Anything coming to mind?
I was just thinking there was something popped up on the screen about have we ever been surprised at the location of a murder that happened in Tulsa? And really, no, it doesn't surprise me. A lot of people, when I first got on, people talked about North Tulsa being so bad. And there are bad pockets of town all over. I like to tell people that if there's some apartment complexes nearby, then you can find all kinds of stuff to get into. But I mean, we've had murders from deep north, deep south, deep east, deep west, and everywhere in between. So maybe the one it was one of your cases that just popped in my head that was maybe a little shocking was at the Best Buy, your Best Buy double, just because in part it's at the store, just how reckless it was, that who knows how many people could have got hurt. And one person actually did. about that several times, but that was
Well, we had Jermaine Jackson. Remember him? That was a double murder that happened in the parking lot of a Quick Trip. That was way back in the day, and there was just some young kid.
Was that
He's like
71st side, 71st.
Yeah. Yeah, he's some young kid that wanted to. He got ticked off thinking somebody tried to hit him when in fact the guy was just drunk. Really, I mean, and he literally ran all the way up there. But he had made a lot of posts earlier that day that he wanted to see what it was like to kill somebody or something like that. He wanted to be gangster. And so here's this kid. It led us to Arkansas. It led us to Little Rock, Arkansas, where Ronnie and I are in the car at intersections. And remember, this is like there's like a documentary. It's like called Gang Banging in Little Rock or something. And we roll up next to this car just full of freaking gangsters. It was, and here's Ronnie going, "Hey, what's up?" This chopping it up, wanting to chop it up with these guys. I'm like, "Are you freaking crazy?" And nevertheless, we ended up going to the jail. Jermaine, actually, I kind of felt bad for that kid, but I know it was such a stupid deal. What are your thoughts on police? Here's one from Lily. I know we're running close. While we're running close, Amanda, throw up my social media places. Detective Jason White, the Facebook page, Twitter. There you go. Thank you very much. And a real quick shout out. We'll do this quick question, but a real quick shout out. Watch in our absence. Watch iDetective with Krista Perno and the gang. Watch Wiretap, please. Check. I like him. He comes on right after us. Todd, he's great. He's got some exceptional guests on there. Check out Briefing with the Chief. That's another law enforcement show. You've got all kinds of shows in front of you right here to check out in our absence. And somebody actually did reach out about advertising and so forth. We're going to get back with him. I'm going to talk to him about stuff, and we'll kind of do that. And we do have a pretty decent restaurant. The friendship question. Ronnie and I really don't speak much at work. I mean, even though he's just down the hall, and if I ever need an electrician at the house, I usually call him because his dad was an electrician, and I figure he should know what to do. So,
and I installed your oven for you, and your house hasn't burnt down, so that worked out.
He did. And if he needs a truck, he calls me. So what are your thoughts on police detective TV shows, and do you find them cringy? Would you consider serving as a consultant on a show if the opportunity arises? Well, the answer for me is absolutely. I would do it all day long. I'd rather be on the show. I'd rather be the host of the show and make a lot of money and do that. But sure, I would do that. Wouldn't you?
I feel like that question was referring to more of like Magnum PI type shows, like
that's TV what I want to be a part of.
Not real life. I wouldn't necessarily want to be the actor on the show. To answer the question about it, cringy, yeah, sometimes, and I don't really watch them anymore. I mean, 10, 15, 20 years ago, I would occasionally watch some police shows, and it was just funny to me seeing stuff like, no, that's not how that works, or that's some of that stuff I wish was more realistic. I get that there's advertisers and entertainment value that has to come into play.
Yeah.
So I get that, but yeah, I think it would be cool to be a consultant for some of that stuff.
Well, listen, we have reached the point of no return. We've got to stop this. And it was fun. Listen, honestly, I think somebody had said something along the lines of it would be really cool in the time when we do come back down the line and however that format's going to look, that if we could do this like once a month or once every couple of months. And I think it's great. I love the questions that come in. That's important for us to, I'm all about sharing of information. I'm all about transparency. There's not, for the most part, we're not giving away trade secrets here. And I don't think it's, cops are like toys in a Cracker Jacks box. We're all different. But we have an obligation to be somewhat ambassadors to this profession and to be accessible, especially since we're on TV. I think that we really need to be accessible to people and answer questions and be friendly and be willing to take photos, etc. So wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I do.
And so that's that. I tell you what, I want to thank everybody here at KGRA Digital Broadcasting for letting us entertain you for the evening. I think that Wiretap is going to be coming on after us. I think. I haven't been told otherwise. I may be wrong, but if there's another show coming on behind us, Wiretap generally does. Keep in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook. I will put something up in reference to some sort of a giveaway. I promise that's going to come up sometime this week, and we'll make it happen. And then until then, we will be in touch. We may even throw something up in the meantime. but we are trying to retool this whole thing. Thank you, Amanda, again, behind the curtain. Thank you, Ronnie, coming to us live from Evergreen, Colorado. And thank you to me, because I love being here. Because what?
Because you're you.
That's because I'm me. The Tulsa King, the real Tulsa King, signing out. See you all. That's it. See you all in the future. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.